What's the meaning of us? Buddhist perspective. Imagine you're in a dream, and you think you've woken up. The room looks exactly as it should. Your bed, your walls, your belongings. Everything seems normal. Yet something feels off. The air is heavier. Sounds are muffled. Even the warmth of sunlight feels distant, as if you're wrapped in a thin veil that separates you from the world. Then it hits you. You're still dreaming. That feeling of unreality, of being slightly detached, can happen in our waking lives too. We go through our days, working, resting, loving, worrying, and everything seems as it should. Yet sometimes, a quiet unease lingers. Maybe it's a sudden loss, a betrayal, or an unexpected failure. Or perhaps it's nothing obvious at all. Just a faint whisper that asks, "Is this really it?" We chase after happiness, success, or love, thinking these will make us whole. But even when we achieve those things, a sense of emptiness can still linger. Beneath all the noise, we're left wondering, what is all this for? Before we can answer that question, we must first understand something even deeper. Why do we suffer in the first place? Chapter 1. Why do we suffer? There's a story about a child who, on a sunny afternoon, became fascinated by his own shadow. He'd rush outside and run as fast as he could, trying to catch it. But no matter how fast he ran, the shadow danced just out of reach. Frustrated and exhausted, he believed that if he just tried harder, a little faster, a little longer, he would finally grab hold of it. Our lives often feel like that. We chase after things, more money, more success, more love, believing that once we have enough, we'll finally feel complete. But even when we achieve those things, a quiet sense of unease often lingers. It's that subtle feeling of emptiness, like something still isn't quite right. The 19th century philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer described this restless longing as the will, a blind, irrational force that drives us to seek pleasure and avoid pain. He compared life to wandering through a desert. Each time we find a small pool of water, a promotion, a new relationship, a personal victory, we feel relief. But soon, the water dries up and the thirst returns. Buddhism offers a similar insight. The Buddha taught that suffering comes from clinging to desires, to fears, and to the belief that we can hold on to what is always changing. We want things to stay a certain way, for love to last forever, for success to remain stable, for our bodies to stay strong. But life refuses to stand still. Imagine building a house on sand. It may seem solid for a while, but eventually, the ground shifts. Wealth can vanish. Relationships change. Health fades. And when we build our happiness on things that are always moving, we can't help but feel anxious. Because deep down, we know nothing stays the same. The Buddha often described this suffering as a fire, a flame that feeds on whatever it clings to. Desires, fears, even our sense of identity, become fuel for this fire. The stronger our attachment, the brighter the fire burns, and the more it consumes us. In the fire sermon, the Buddha stood before his followers and said, "All is burning. Burning with greed, hatred, and delusion. With the mistaken belief that we are separate, permanent selves, independent from the world around us. Burning with the belief that we can control life, that we can hold on to what must eventually pass. But just as a fire dies when the fuel runs out, suffering fades when we stop clinging. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or living without joy. It means seeing that peace doesn't come from controlling life, but from learning to move with it. There's a quiet strength in this, a freedom that arises when we stop trying to hold on so tightly. Like a leaf floating down a river, we begin to move with life rather than against it. And in doing so, we find something unexpected, a calm that doesn't depend on things going our way. Suffering isn't just about pain. It's about resistance. The more we resist what life brings, the more we struggle. But when we stop running, when we sit quietly and face the discomfort, something shifts. The fire weakens, the shadow stops running, and what's left is something we've been chasing all along: peace. Chapter 2. What is the meaning of life? People often ask, what's the purpose of life? As if there's a single answer waiting to be uncovered, a final truth that will make everything clear. But life isn't like solving a puzzle. It's more like a bird in flight, moving moment by moment, without a fixed path or destination. The bird doesn't ask, where am I going? It simply flies. In Buddhism, the purpose of life isn't about reaching some external goal. It's about understanding the nature of our own minds. The Buddha taught that true purpose comes from awakening, from seeing through the illusions of a separate self, of permanence, of control that keep us trapped in suffering. This awakening, known as enlightenment, isn't something distant or mystical. It's the quiet clarity that arises when we stop grasping at life and start moving with it, like a bird trusting the wind beneath its wings. Yet some believe life has no ultimate meaning at all. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre argued that existence is empty until we give it meaning ourselves. He believed there's no cosmic plan, no guiding purpose, just us, left to shape our own lives through choice and action. Buddhism, on the other hand, teaches that life does have a deeper purpose: to free ourselves from suffering by letting go of attachment and illusion. But despite their differences, both Sartre's philosophy and the Buddha's teachings point to a common truth. The quality of our presence, the depth of our awareness in each passing moment is what truly matters. Imagine a candle burning in a dark room. The flame doesn't ask, "Why am I burning?" It simply gives light. In the same way, life finds meaning when we bring warmth to others, through kindness, wisdom, and compassion. As the Dhammapada states, thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. Science echoes this truth. Studies show that acts of generosity and compassion create a deeper, more lasting happiness than personal success alone. Just like a candle that lights another without losing its own flame, we find purpose by giving rather than grasping. But meaning isn't just something we think about. It's something we experience. A song doesn't exist on paper. It exists when it's played. Likewise, purpose isn't a distant goal. It's the way we move through life, the way we meet each moment with presence and care. It is a well-known story in Buddhism that the Buddha once asked his disciple Ananda, "Where is the mind?" Ananda answered, "It's in my thoughts." But the Buddha shook his head. "No. The mind is wherever your attention rests." Purpose isn't something you find in a book or a philosophy. It's something you live. It's the quiet patience of listening deeply to a friend, the courage of standing firm in your values, the tenderness of showing kindness when no one's watching. The meaning of life isn't hidden in some distant truth. It's here, in the small moments that make up each day. Like a bird trusting the sky, a candle lighting the dark, or a song that only exists when played. Meaning isn't something you chase. It's something you create by living fully, one moment at a time. Chapter 3. What does it mean to be human? The world is full of life, from the smallest insect to the largest whale. Each creature experiences the world in its own way. But humans have been given a unique gift: the capacity for profound self-awareness. We don't just live, we contemplate life. We don't just experience, we question our experience. We wonder about our place in the universe, our purpose, our very existence. This awareness is both a gift and a burden. It allows us to imagine, to plan, to dream. Yet it also opens the door to fear, regret, and uncertainty. Unlike animals, we don't simply live. We question what it means to live. Buddhism teaches that this awareness isn't just a random trait. It's the very key to awakening. To be human is to have the capacity to see things as they truly are. The Buddha often described awareness as a mirror, a clear surface that reflects the world without distortion. When the mind is clouded with anger, greed, or delusion, that mirror becomes foggy, and we mistake our distorted thoughts for reality. But when the mind is calm and clear, it reflects things as they are. And in that clarity, wisdom arises. The Greek philosopher Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." He believed that what makes us truly human is the ability to reflect, to ask questions about ourselves, our choices, and our purpose. This aligns closely with the Buddha's teaching. Awareness is not just about observing life. It's about understanding it deeply. To be human is to have the potential to wake up, to break free from confusion, and see the world clearly. But awareness alone isn't enough. It's what we do with that awareness that shapes our lives. Imagine a garden, a patch of earth where anything can grow. Left alone, weeds may take over. But with care, that same soil can produce flowers, fruits, and life-giving crops. Our minds are just like that. Every thought we nurture, whether of kindness or cruelty, patience or anger, is like planting a seed. The Buddha once said in the Dhammapada, "The mind is the forerunner of all things. With our thoughts, we shape our world." If we constantly feed our minds with resentment or fear, those feelings will grow stronger, spreading like weeds. But if we cultivate compassion, mindfulness, and understanding, those qualities will take root instead. The mind doesn't decide for itself. It reflects what we choose to plant. And that's what makes being human so precious: the ability to choose. A river flows in one direction, with no say in where it goes. A flame flickers and dances without purpose. But as humans, we can pause, reflect, and change course. In each moment, we decide whether to act with kindness or cruelty, to embrace wisdom or cling to ignorance. Just as a gardener chooses which seeds to plant, we choose which thoughts and actions to cultivate. We can sow the seeds of suffering, grasping, anger, delusion, or we can plant the seeds of liberation, awareness, compassion, wisdom. No one else can make this choice for us. It's this constant choosing, this constant planting, that shapes the path of our lives. To be human is not simply to exist. It's to hold in our hands the power to awaken, to shape our minds, and to walk a path that brings both peace to ourselves and light to those around us. That is our greatest gift and our greatest responsibility. Chapter 4. How to live with meaning. Imagine holding a handful of sand. If you clutch it tightly, the grains slip through your fingers. But if you relax your hand, holding it gently, openly, the sand stays in your palm. Life works the same way. The more we try to control it, the more it slips away. We often cling tightly to our plans, relationships, or ambitions, believing that if we just hold on harder, everything will stay the way we want. But that pressure only brings stress and frustration. The Buddha taught that peace comes not from controlling life, but from learning to let go. Not as an act of giving up, but as an act of trusting the natural flow of things. One simple practice to experience this is the pause and soften method. When you feel yourself getting tense, maybe during a difficult conversation, a stressful moment at work, or while worrying about the future, pause for just 3 seconds. In those 3 seconds, take a breath and silently tell yourself, soften, let go. It's not about ignoring the situation, but about loosening your mental grip. Often, that small pause is enough to shift your mind from tension to calm, allowing you to respond more wisely. This shift in perspective is like putting down a heavy stone you've been carrying for years. When we stop forcing life to fit our desires, we create space. Space for calm, for wisdom, for freedom. And in that space, something remarkable happens. We start to see the world with new eyes. Imagine 2 people eating the same meal. One is rushing, shoveling food in their mouth without tasting it. The other is savoring each bite, noticing the flavors, the textures, the aromas. The food is the same, but their experiences are worlds apart. Buddhism teaches that much of our suffering comes from seeing life through the lens of our cravings and fears. We look at success and think, I must have that. We face failure and think, I cannot bear this. But what if we soften those judgments? What if we met life, not with resistance, but with curiosity? A flower doesn't bloom because we demand it. A river doesn't flow because we control it. Yet both unfold beautifully when left to their nature. When we stop insisting that life conform to our wishes, we begin to notice the quiet beauty that was always there, in a stranger's smile, in the warmth of sunlight, in the stillness of the breath. But seeing clearly isn't enough. We must also live that clarity. Wisdom isn't gained in an instant. It's cultivated step by step, like climbing a mountain one careful footfall at a time. The Buddha compared this to filling a jar with water, drop by drop. No single drop seems important, yet over time, the jar becomes full. One way to practice this is through small steps with intention. Each morning, choose one small thing to do with full awareness. Whether it's washing the dishes, walking to the bus stop, or simply drinking your tea. Focus fully on that one action, noticing its rhythm, its texture, its presence. This simple habit trains the mind to stay grounded in what's real, not lost in thoughts of what should be. This is the art of living with meaning. Not grand gestures, but small, steady acts. A moment of patience when anger stirs. A kind word when someone feels alone. a mindful breath when the mind races. These moments may seem small, but each one shapes the path we walk. A meaningful life isn't about finding some distant answer. It's about living each moment with presence, compassion, and courage. When we let go of what we cannot control, when we open our eyes to life as it is, and when we take one mindful step after another, that is when life becomes truly rich. Not because everything goes our way, but because we've learned how to walk with peace, no matter where the path leads.